Hi guys, today we're going to do lesson 1, size of divisor and size of quotient. So we're going to explore some quotients of different sizes. Where 1.1 is number talk, size of dividend and divisor. So just as a reminder that your dividend is the number up top. I'm going to get a different pen. And your divisor is the bottom value. So when you're dividing in the standard algorithm, you'll do A divided by B. So again, your dividend is A and your divisor is B. All right, find the value of each expression mentally. So 5,000 divided by 5. So this is your dividend, this is your divisor. So in my head, I know that 5 can go into 5,000 1,000 times. $5,000 divided by 2,500 or 2,500. Well, I know that this can go into that twice. 5,000 divided by 10,000. Well, 5,000 is half of 10,000, so I know that I have halves of these going into 5,000. And then 5,000 divided by 500,000. In my head, I would take off these 3 zeros and these 3 zeros and make it smaller. So 5 divided by 500, which is going to be 1/100th. Okay. 1.2, all stacked up. So here are several different types of objects. For each type of object, estimate how many are in a stack that is 5 feet high. Be prepared to explain your reasoning. So these cardboard boxes, they look about, I don't know, maybe 2.5 feet tall. So if I was stacking them, I probably would need 2 of them to make 5 feet tall. These notebooks look pretty small, like maybe an eighth of an inch or eighth of a, maybe a quarter of an inch or a half inch. So I'd probably say I would need, I don't know, maybe 100. These look thicker, so maybe these are about 3 or 4 inches. So for every foot, I'll need, 4, and then 4 times 5 is about 20. And then pennies, they are super tiny. I'm probably going to guess that, I don't know, an inch is about this long, so this is probably about 10 pennies. So that's about 120 pennies for a foot, and then times 5, so about 600 pennies maybe. And then what I can do is I can look at the answer key and we can see if that's what they said were about the right answers. So what they're saying is that they said for boxes that their boxes are only a foot tall, so they needed 5 of them. But I said that my boxes were about 2.5 feet tall, so 2.5 feet tall times 2. And then the bricks, they said about 25, so that was pretty close. They said about 60 books, because they were assuming that the notebooks were an inch thick, but I don't know, most notebooks are about ½ inch thick, so that's why I went with a little bit more than that. And then the pennies, I said 600, they said 960, so we were pretty close with these. Okay, again, this is just estimation. Okay. But hopefully what you noticed is that the bigger the shape, the less you needed of them. The smaller that they got, the more you needed of them. So that was the whole point in that lesson. All right, question 2 says that a stack of books is 72 inches tall. Each book is 2 inches thick. Which expression tells you how many books are in the stack? So I have 72 inches and each is 2. So I'm trying to figure out how many 2-inch goes into 72. So which of these shows that? D. 72 divided by 2. Another stack of books is 43 inches tall. Each book is a ½ inch thick. write an expression that represents the number of books in this stack. So if I have 43 inches and I divide it by 1/2, that will give me how many books I'll need. And if I actually want to go ahead and answer this, how many halves fit into 43? 86. All right. The next thing you're going to get is for this lesson here, all in order. So you should be getting a sheet that looks like this. And what you're going to do is you're going to glue this onto page 5 right here. So I'll zoom it out so you can see. So page 5, you should have this activity, set 1 and set 2, glued there, and you're going to use it for this activity, all in order. So let's read this together. So your teacher will give your group 2 sets of division expressions without computing, estimate their values, and arrange each set of expressions in order from largest to smallest. Be prepared to explain your reasoning. When finished, pause for a class discussion. So because you have your numbers on the other side, my suggestion would be maybe don't glue it yet. Maybe glue this after you're done. So what you're going to do is you're going to order these from least to greatest, or from greatest to least. And I did put letters here so that when you're writing them, you can just write them right here. And then for set 2, again, I put letters here. So you're trying to give an estimation, not actually with a calculator, so no calculators. And you're trying to see what order you're going to put them in from greatest to least. So go ahead and pause the video and then come back in just a moment and I will show you what the answers are for this activity. All right, here are the answers. So your largest value was G, and then D, and then F, and then E, H, then B, then C, then A. Hopefully you notice a pattern that when your dividend is bigger than your divisor, that your number is going to be bigger, and that when your dividend is less than your divisor, like right here, your answer is going to end up being way smaller. So that was a good pattern, hopefully, that you recognized here. Then for set 2, same skills. So L was your biggest, because that was your biggest dividend and your smaller divisor. Then J, then K, then I, then Q, then P, then M, and then O. All right, so that was going in order from greatest to least. All right, your last question before your lesson summary and then your practice problems. So without computing, estimate each quotient and arrange them in 3 groups, close to 0, close to 1, and much larger than 1. Be prepared to explain your reasoning. So here's your 3 columns, close to 0, close to 1, much larger than 1. So go ahead and pause your video and then unpause it when you are ready after you've put your numbers in your columns. All right, thank you for taking your time to do those problems. So close to 0, I got 15,000 divided by 1,500,000, or yeah, 1,500,000, because this is much smaller than the divisor. 9 divided by 10,000, again, this is much smaller than the divisor. Close to 1, basically the numbers were super close to each other, so 9 is close to 10, so I know that that's going to be really close to 1. 18 out of 19, or 18 divided by 19, again, close to 1. And then 15,000 divided by 14,500. They were so similar, it was almost 1. And then much larger than 1, I got 30 divided by a half because the dividend was much bigger than the divisor. So a lot of divisors can go into the dividend. Same for this example, 30 divided by 0.45, and same with this example, 18 divided by 1800ths. All right, so now what you're going to do is you're going to read your lesson summary, make sure you completely understand it, and then I would also like for you to do your practice problems on pages 8 and 9. Page 8 and 9. I will be posting the answer key on my website for you to check if you'd like to use that, and then we'll go over this in class on Monday. All right, I hope you guys have a great day with the substitute, and I will see you after the weekend. Have a great afternoon.